So if you're thinking about moving to DC, Maryland, Virginia, or in this case, Bethesda, Maryland, this is the video for you because today at Open House, Charles and Joseph talk about everything that there is to know about living in Bethesda, Maryland. And if you like this video, go ahead and watch the other ones because every single day, we're helping folks from out of state learn about everything that there is to know about living in DC, Maryland, Virginia, so that they know exactly where to move and who to call when they want to make a smooth move to the DMV. And of course, if you would like us to help you find your next home, go ahead and give us a call, send us a text, or book a video call with us using the link in the description below. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the conversation between Charles and Joseph about Bethesda, Maryland.
Hello, my name is Charles with Open House Media, and if you're ready to take a deep dive into what it's like to live in Bethesda, Maryland, then you've found the right video because I have Joe Okon with me, and he's a licensed real estate agent who specializes in helping people get familiar with and move to the area. So if you're considering moving to Bethesda, then you're in the right place. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So Joe, thanks for being with me today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you love the Bethesda, Maryland area so much?
I surely can. I am a real estate agent, salesperson, and associate broker, actually licensed in Maryland, Virginia, and DC, but I reside in Bethesda, Maryland, which is part of Montgomery County, Maryland, and large majority of my business is in Bethesda. I worked for 17 years for Marriott International at their headquarters in Bethesda, which actually just recently moved from very northern Bethesda to downtown Bethesda, new headquarters there. I left Marriott 2001 and went into real estate investing, buying homes, renovating them, and flipping them. As part of that process, I got my real estate license, and I have left the investing part behind, and now I am full-time helping people buy and sell their homes.
Gotcha. How long have you lived in the area?
I'm a native New Yorker. I've lived here, however, relocated down here by Marriott when I was employed by them 35 years ago. So I've been in Washington, the area for a long time.
Gotcha. So I guess you'd be the guy to go to if I wanted to ask you what's the best steak restaurant in town, or where should I take my mom for dinner, right, when she comes to visit?
Absolutely. Although Bethesda has over 200 restaurants, so you have lots to choose from.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, so we'll take a dive into those here in a minute, but for now, can you tell us a little bit about the culture in Bethesda? What's it like to live there? Is it a suburban area? Is it rural, small town? What's it like to live there?
It's most definitely an urban area. Originally, it served downtown DC. World War II brought a lot of government development and all the ancillary development that came with that, military and government, and that's really where Bethesda started to grow. We have Bethesda Naval Hospital and Walter Reed Army Hospital, National Institute of Health, and so that brought in a lot of people as well. It's a pretty high end as far as I think the national or the average income is north of $150,000 a year, and so it's a higher end neighborhood, I guess.
Okay, so a little bit more maybe on the affluent side.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, gotcha. So so what's the story behind Bethesda? Can you share a little bit of the history about it, how it got where it is, where it's going, where you see it going in the future?
World War II brought a lot of development, a lot of development as a result of a huge influx of personnel, both active military, government, and the supporting industries. And then in the early 80s, Bethesda the metro was extended to Bethesda and beyond, which brought a lot of development as well. Either the local commute to the government-related Army hospitals and NIH had a lot of people working very close by. Most of the people at the time were commuting to downtown DC, where the majority of the jobs were. Now, Bethesda downtown itself is a huge employment center as well.
So, and tell me a little bit about the economics of the area. What, when it comes to where people tend to work, are more people commuting, or are they kind of staying local there in Bethesda?
Well, like many industries, I'll give you the short-term answer first. Like many companies, the position that many companies have found themselves in recently, there are fewer people commuting and more people working from home as a result of COVID-19. That has had some very interesting impacts on the real estate market, which we'll get to. But prior to COVID-19, a majority of the people were, again, either commuting within the Bethesda area because of the large number of businesses in and around Bethesda, and then again the majority commuting by car, by bus, by metro to downtown DC, or in some cases the nearby military bases, because we do support a lot of active military and non-military workers at those bases.
It seems like there's a lot of industry there in Bethesda, where people can easily find work. I guess there's plenty of opportunity in the area. Let's talk a little bit about the economics, where people tend to work. You said that, I guess the median income is somewhere around the $150,000 range. So what companies are these people working for?
Well, I mentioned Marriott. Their international headquarters is here now, literally located in downtown Bethesda. Just opened their new building within the last 2 months. Several different hotel entities, Host Hotels is here, Hospitality Partners, big franchise organization. Lockheed Martin, of note, a very large employer here in the Bethesda area, as well as other places around the country, of course. Comcast is headquartered here. So there's a good amount of I guess, commercial business employers literally headquartered in Bethesda, Maryland.
Gotcha. Any kind of manufacturing going on there?
Not really, no.
Not really.
Interestingly, as part of its history, downtown Bethesda was a center of car repair and auto dent places that has since gone by the wayside, except for one notable one, which still has their auto repair place located right in downtown Bethesda, but that's pretty much the only one.
Gotcha. So what are the schools like there? I know a lot of people looking at this are, they have the kids and they're interested in the school systems.
So the schools, both public and private, are very highly rated. There are numerous schools that are in the school rating sites in the 8, 9, and 10 scores, 10 being the highest. Very, very well-known private schools as well. Walt Whitman High School, right in the heart of Bethesda, was rated the #1 high school in the state of Maryland within the last year or so. I have 3 daughters who went through the public school system here in Bethesda, and they all got wonderful educations.
That's great. Is there any charter or specialty schools that are there in the area?
Well, there are certainly private schools, as far as Holton Arms, which is an all-girls school, Landon School for boys. Katie Ledecky, the famous Olympic swimmer, went to Stone Ridge School, a very more well-known because of Katie, private school here in Bethesda as well. So the quality of the private schools is excellent as well.
Excellent. Well, I know a lot of people want to know about things to do. So let's talk about entertainment for a minute. What kind of restaurants and bars are nearby in Bethesda?
Well, like I said, there are over 200 restaurants in Bethesda. Whatever's on your checklist, we've got it. From very high end, Morton's Steakhouse, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, to a Washington area institution, Lito's Pizza, which is actually a chain of pizza places here that started here locally and very well known. There's the Bethesda Crab House, which is an institution as well. 200 plus restaurants, so it's hard for me to pick one or two that necessarily. I mean, literally, whatever your taste, there's a restaurant for what you're up for.
Right. So there seems to be a really great variety of places to eat there. Are there any wineries, breweries, or distilleries that are located there?
There is a restaurant in downtown Bethesda that's brews their own beers right there in the restaurant. And a favorite for my kids as well, because they have for kids make your own pizza. So when my kids were little, they'd love to go there, and they bring a little round of dough and some sauce and some cheese and some onion, and the kids can make whatever they want. So anyway, that's a brewery as well. You have to travel a little further out for anything more suburban or as far as wineries. I mean, there are lots of wineries within an hour of here for sure.
Okay. Gotcha. And what about like craft and local shops, like mom and pop shops, like craft stores and things like that? Is there anything like that in the area?
Yes, it's one of the great things about downtown Bethesda is it is, I would say, a majority of the shops are boutique-y kind of shops, crafty kind of shops, not necessarily the chains. We do have our sprinkling of chain stores, and we have an Apple store, of course, and things like that. But there's a great number of little local and locally owned stores, retail in the area in Bethesda specifically.
Gotcha. Concert halls, sporting arenas. What kind of sports do you guys have around there?
Yeah. So there's an entity called the Bethesda Urban Partnership, which runs a lot of cultural events within downtown Bethesda. Many of the streets since COVID-19 were closed off that typically feature retail, restaurants, etc. on either side. That has now been made permanent, and in those permanent meaning closed to vehicular traffic. And so they do movies at night in the summer. They do concerts. They have just passed a Labor Day art show. There's another art show that's done in the spring. So there are lots of events put on by the sort of the city of Bethesda or the Urban Partnership. There's also Strathmore, which is a concert hall in the northern part of Bethesda that features everything from plays, music groups, comedy, wonderful place with a pretty neat history as well.
Gotcha. And for things like the kids to do, is there like trampoline parks, go-kart, arcades, special sports, or anything like that?
Bethesda has, all my kids played soccer and other sports, but particularly with soccer, which took me to, I'm going to guess, at least 30 parks between, elementary school parks or just, dedicated parks. So there's a huge number of parks around. One of them features a thing called the Big Train, which has a train ride, an actual train, although miniature size, of course, for the kids, although, of course, the parents can go along. That rides through the woods in one of the parks nearby. There's that same park features the play of a AAA baseball team, and so there was never a shortage of things for me to do with my girls as they were growing up.
That's great. Are there any like yearly gatherings, like for car enthusiasts, maybe hot air balloon event, like reenactments, any kind of things like that go on?
Interestingly, not in Bethesda, but Montgomery County Fairgrounds this coming weekend is featuring, I believe, its first hot air balloon festival.
Okay.
So that's not Bethesda technically, but that's within the county, a little north of here.
Gotcha. How far of a drive would you say that is from, like, I guess, downtown?
15 minutes. 15 minutes away, very close. As far as other types of events, yes, there is a weekly gathering of classic car, vintage car enthusiasts up actually right near the park that features the big train, and there are just a lot of activities that go on that I'm not necessarily knowledgeable about because it's not necessarily my area of interest, but I know that there are car enthusiast gatherings.
Gotcha. There's plenty of festivals and events for the holidays and all that kind of stuff going on, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
I guess musical events like, college classical concert series, bands, music festivals, what kind of stuff like that's going on?
So again, I'll take you to Strathmore Music Hall, which features all that kind of stuff. And American University, which is located here as well, often has events that, perhaps are primarily attended by the students there, but certainly open to the public. And as you can imagine, a major university like that has concerts, talks, serious talks, political debates, featuring any of the realm of things you can imagine happening in an auditorium or an event.
Sure. So they're pretty busy with stuff going on pretty much year round, would you say?
Absolutely, yes.
Gotcha. So what about the people that, you mentioned that Bethesda is more of a rural or urban kind of area. So people want to get away, go see some nature, maybe go on a hike, go to a lake or river or a park or something. What kind of stuff is nearby that they can get to?
Well, probably the very popular attraction is the right along the Potomac River, which divides Maryland and Virginia in these parts. Along the Potomac is the C&O Canal and hiking paths, walking paths. A lot of water sports, particularly kayaking, goes on along the waters accessible from Bethesda. At the end of Bethesda, I guess technically in Potomac, which is adjacent to Bethesda, is Great Falls Park, which has some wonderful, in some cases, very tough hikes, and then beautiful, beautiful waterfalls that you can look at of the Potomac River coming down towards flowing towards DC.
Oh, that's really cool. I wouldn't have imagined that there'd be waterfalls there, but hey, now I know. That's pretty cool.
Quite spectacular.
So as far as housing, what kind of homes would you find in Bethesda? What's
a good number of the homes were built again right after World War II. So you have a lot of the homes I come into contact with are built in the 50s and 60s. Of course, there were many homes built since then, and we have for the last 15, 20 years gone through a period where either the end user buyer or developers are taking the older houses and tearing them down and putting up newer houses. So the original homes built here tend to be just maybe 2-story and a basement or some ranch style, and a lot of split level homes. The newer homes, of course, are typically big colonials with 3, 4, 5,000 square feet and elevators, and typically high end. I mean, it's not uncommon for a developer to buy a quarter-acre lot here for $700,000 or $800,000, only to tear down what's there and build a new house, to give you an idea of what the pricing is like.
there's a lot of active modernizing of the structures there, I guess you would say.
Correct. Correct.
I got it. So what would you say the median home price is in the area?
$1.1 million.
1.1, and then the median income, I guess you said, was 150,000.
Yeah, it's actually a little north. That's about, I think it's about $172,000 is the median income. So
okay, so about how much house could you buy for 1.1 million?
So just before this interview, I pulled up our local multiple listing service, and the least expensive house, single family detached house in Bethesda, is selling for $748,000. That is the least expensive house in Bethesda. Again, because as we talked about, the average is about 1.1 million. That's not typically one of the new builds. That's an older house that's been, probably refurbished, maybe bumped out a little bit here and there, but still maintaining its base of, either a basic two-story colonial or rambler, and that's been a lot of adding on going up, a lot of adding on going back, depending on the sides, what have you, and then as I mentioned before, a good amount of complete tear downs and rebuilds.
Gotcha. And for that money, would that get you a typical like 3-bedroom, 2-bath situation?
For one, yes. For the $1 million range, you're going to get a pretty nice house on a 1/4 acre, bit of a yard. Most of the zoning here is 1/4 acre or larger, so that there's a nice little plot of property that comes with the house. And but yes, again, that being the median price, you're getting like you said, probably a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that's been upgraded, updated a bit. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, that's pretty much all the questions I have for today, Joe. I really do appreciate you spending time so we can do this neighborhood spotlight for Bethesda, Maryland. This has been really good. If anybody's looking to move to the area and wants buyer representation for Bethesda, Maryland, then look below the video there, and Joe's contact details will be there, and he'll be happy to help you.
Thank you very much.